Commander Jake Harrison had been staring at the stars for 3 hours when the signal came. He stood on the bridge of the U.S. Valiant, watching the endless black of space through the main window. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of engines and the occasional beep from the control panels. Jake was tired. They had been traveling for 6 months now, looking for signs of alien life. So far, they had found nothing but empty planets and dead rocks floating in space. Earth had sent them out here with high hopes, but space was bigger than anyone had imagined. The communication officer, Lieutenant Brad Cooper, suddenly sat up straight at his station. His eyes went wide as he looked at his screen. "Commander," he said, his voice shaking a little, "you need to hear this." Jake walked over to Brad's station. "What is it?" "It's a signal, sir. But it's not from Earth. It's not from anywhere we know." Brad's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "The computer says it's coming from the direction of the galactic center. And sir, it's not random noise. This is a real message." "Captain." Lisa Rodriguez entered the bridge at that moment. She was a small woman with dark hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Behind her came Dr. Kevin Barnes, the ship's scientist who studied alien life forms. Even though they had never found any aliens, Kevin still believed they were out there. "What's the situation?" Lisa asked. Jake pointed to the communication station. "We're getting a signal from deep space. It looks like someone is trying to talk to us." Lisa's eyes lit up. This was what they had been hoping for since they left Earth. "Can we understand it?" Brad shook his head. "Not yet. But the computer is working on it. The signal is very complex, like it's coming from multiple sources at once." Dr. Barnes moved closer to look at the data. "This is incredible. The signal pattern suggests a highly advanced civilization. Maybe even multiple civilizations working together." They waited as the computer worked to decode the message. Minutes passed slowly. Everyone on the bridge was silent, holding their breath. This could be the most important moment in human history. Finally, the computer made a soft chime. Brad looked at his screen and went pale. "Commander, Captain, you need to see this." The main screen flickered to life. What they saw made everyone step back in shock. The image showed several alien beings, but they were not what anyone had expected. These creatures looked terrified. The first alien was tall and thin, with blue skin that seemed to glow softly. Its large eyes were filled with fear. Next to it stood a creature that looked like it was made of living crystal, its body reflecting light in rainbow patterns. But even this beautiful being seemed to be shaking. A third alien looked like a cross between a plant and an animal, with green skin and leaves growing from its head. It was the one who began to speak, and somehow the computer was able to translate its words into English. "People of Earth," the plant-like being said, its voice soft and musical. "We are the Galactic Council. We have been watching your world for many years, but we have never contacted you because we feared you." Jake and Lisa looked at each other. Feared humans? Why would advanced aliens fear them? The alien continued. "Your world is what we call a death world. It is a place where life fights constantly just to survive. Most worlds in the galaxy are peaceful, places where creatures live in harmony. But Earth is different. Earth creates warriors." Dr. Barnes was writing notes as fast as he could. This was beyond anything he had dreamed of. "We contact you now because we are desperate," the crystal being spoke next, its voice like the sound of wind chimes. "A great evil has come to our galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire spreads across the stars like a plague, destroying everything in their path." The blue-skinned alien took over the message. "The Zephyrians are insects, but they are not like the insects of your world. They are as large as your humans, and they think as one mind. They have conquered 12 worlds already. Their weapons adapt to any defense we create. Our peaceful ways are useless against them." The plant alien spoke again. We have tried to fight them with our technology, but we do not understand war the way you do. We do not think like predators. We do not know how to be cruel when cruelty is needed. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. These aliens were asking humans to fight a war for them, because humans were good at being violent. Every species in the council has abilities that seem like magic to you, the crystal being continued. We can change matter with our thoughts. We can grow new worlds. We can travel between stars in the blink of an eye, but we cannot do the one thing that might save us. We cannot think like killers. The blue alien's large eyes seemed to look directly at Jake through the screen. The Zephyrians will reach the peaceful world soon. Billions will die. Children will be consumed. Entire civilizations will vanish forever. The plant alien's voice became even softer. We know what we are asking. We know that your people have fought terrible wars among yourselves. We know that your world taught you to survive by being stronger and more dangerous than anything else. This frightens us, but now it is our only hope. The crystal being's body flashed with different colors as it spoke. We offer you our friendship, our knowledge, and our gratitude. In return, we ask you to do what we cannot. We ask you to be the monsters that protect the innocent. The message showed images of burning worlds and fleeing civilians. The Zephyrians looked exactly as described, giant insects with metal grafted onto their bodies, moving in perfect coordination like a hive mind. They destroyed everything they touched. Please, all three aliens said together. Our galaxy cries for help. Will Earth answer? The message ended, leaving the bridge in complete silence. Captain Lisa Rodriguez was the first to speak. How long? Until we can get a message back to Earth? About 3 months at light speed, Brad answered. And how long until we can get there? Jake asked, pointing at the coordinates the aliens had sent. Dr. Barnes checked his calculations. With our current technology, about 2 years. Lisa looked around the bridge at her crew. 60 humans on one small ship, being asked to save an entire galaxy from an enemy they had never seen. Sir, Jake said quietly, what do we tell them? Lisa stared at the empty screen where the terrified aliens had been. She thought about Earth, about humanity's long history of war and survival. She thought about how humans had fought each other for thousands of years, always finding new ways to be more dangerous than their enemies. Maybe that was exactly what the galaxy needed. Send 2 messages, she said finally. One to Earth, telling them what we've learned, and one to the aliens, telling them we're coming. The galaxy had cried for help, and Earth was about to answer with its children, the Deathworlders. The journey to Sanctuary Station took 18 months. During that time, 3 more ships from Earth joined the UES Valiant. The UES Liberty carried diplomats and scientists. The UES Guardian brought military advisors and weapons experts. The UES Hope was filled with engineers and medical staff. Captain Lisa Rodriguez stood in the docking bay of Sanctuary Station and tried not to show her amazement. The station was bigger than any city on Earth. It stretched in all directions, a massive ring of metal and crystal that sparkled with lights from 1,000 different species. Stay close and keep your weapons visible but not threatening, she told her team. Colonel Ryan Murphy, a tall man with gray hair and scars from Earth's last war, nodded. He had brought 20 Marines with him, all of them looking nervous but ready. Amanda Foster, their tactical expert, carried a tablet showing everything they knew about alien military technology. It was not much. Dr. Elena Carter, the mission psychologist, watched everything with sharp eyes. She was here to figure out how aliens thought and felt. Steve Collins, their best engineer, kept looking up at the ceiling of the station. Captain, he whispered, this place is held together by technology I don't even understand. How do they build something this big? Before Lisa could answer, their guide appeared. It was the same blue-skinned alien they had seen in the first message. Up close, it was even more strange. Its skin really did glow softly, and its large black eyes seemed to see everything. "Welcome, humans of Earth," the alien said. Its voice was soft and musical, but Lisa could hear fear in it. "I am Veltar of the Altarian people. We are grateful that you have come so far to help us." Colonel Murphy stepped forward. "We need to see the tactical situation immediately. Show us everything you know about these Zephyrians." Veltar led them through corridors filled with aliens Lisa had never imagined. There were the crystal beings from the message, their bodies, throwing rainbow light on the walls. Creatures that looked like walking trees moved slowly past them. Things that might have been made of living water flowed through special tubes in the ceiling. "Your diversity is remarkable," Dr. Carter said. To Veltar, "How many species are in the council?" 147, Veltar replied. "Each brings unique gifts. The Cetians can grow new organs and heal any injury. The vegan plant people can make dead worlds green in just a few years. The crystal Zephanites can change matter by thinking about it." They entered a huge room where dozens of aliens sat around a circular table. At the center was a three-dimensional map showing the galaxy. Red areas marked where the Zephyrians had attacked. The red was spreading like a disease. A creature that looked like a giant mantis stood up when they entered. Its four arms moved gracefully as it spoke. "I am Zex High, military advisor to the Council. I have studied warfare for 300 years. Colonel." Murphy looked at the red areas on the map. "How many ships do the Zephyrians have?" "We estimate over 10,000 combat vessels," Zex High replied. "But numbers are not their greatest strength. They think as one mind. When one learns something, they all learn it instantly." Amanda Foster was taking notes rapidly. "What about their ground forces?" "Each ship carries approximately 1,000 warrior drones. They are as large as your humans, but much stronger. Their exoskeletons can stop most energy weapons." Steve Collins studied technical readouts on his tablet. "These bioships of theirs, how do they work?" A Cetian, one of the water-like aliens, answered, "They grow their ships rather than build them. The ships heal damage automatically and adapt to new threats. Every weapon we use becomes less effective after the first time." Dr. Carter was watching the aliens as they spoke. Something was bothering her. "Can I ask you something? You have all this amazing technology. You can heal anything, change matter, grow new worlds. Why can't you fight?" The room became very quiet. The aliens looked uncomfortable. Veltar finally answered, "We have not fought wars for thousands of years. We do not think in terms of killing. When we see violence, our minds simply cannot process it properly." "What do you mean?" "Colonel," Murphy asked .zex, single quotes HAI, the mantis-like being, spoke carefully. "When my people see death and destruction, we become paralyzed. We cannot think clearly. Our advanced minds work against us in combat situations." A crystal being added, "We can destroy mountains with our thoughts, but the idea of hurting another living creature makes us physically ill. We have evolved beyond violence." Amanda Foster looked up from her notes. "But the Zephyrians haven't." "No," Veltar said sadly. "They are the opposite of us. They exist only to consume and destroy. They have no art, no music, no philosophy. They are pure predators." Dr. Carter was beginning to understand. "So when you fight them, they have every advantage. They think like killers and you don't." "Exactly," Zexai confirmed. "We can create weapons that could destroy stars, but we cannot use them effectively because we do not understand the predator mind." Colonel Murphy studied the tactical displays. "What's their pattern of attack?" "They arrive in overwhelming numbers," Zexai explained. "They target the most populated areas first, causing maximum fear and chaos. They adapt to our defenses within hours. Then they consume everything organic and move on." "Consume?" Steve Collins asked. A vegan plant person answered, its leaves rustling with distress. They eat everything alive. Plants, animals, people. They leave nothing but bare rock behind. Lisa looked around the room at all these advanced beings who could do impossible things but couldn't fight a war. How many worlds have you lost? 15 now, Veltar replied. The latest was the Kepler system 3 days ago. 4 billion Cetians died there. The weight of that number settled on the humans. 4 billion people, gone, Amanda Foster asked. The question everyone was thinking, how much time do we have? HFY manipulated the galactic map. Their next target appears to be the Vega system. 8 billion plant people live there. Based on their current speed, they will arrive in approximately 6 months. Can your people evacuate? Dr. Carter asked. Where would they go? Veltar said helplessly. The Zephyrians will eventually reach every world. We cannot run forever. Colonel Murphy looked at his team. 20 Marines and a few dozen experts to save an entire galaxy. It seemed impossible, but then he remembered something his grandfather had told him about Earth's great wars. Sometimes a small group of people who refused to give up could change everything. We need to see their attack patterns, he said. Show us recordings of their battles. Are you certain? HFY asked. The images are quite disturbing. Amanda Foster smiled grimly. We're from Earth, we can handle disturbing. As the recordings began to play, showing the methodical destruction of entire civilizations, the humans watched with cold, calculating eyes. They were not horrified like the aliens expected. They were learning. The galaxy had called for Deathworlders, and now they were beginning to understand why. 6 months later, the sky above Vega Prime was filled with Earthships. General Patricia Stone stood on the bridge of the UES Hammer, watching her fleet prepare for humanity's first real battle in space. Earth had sent everything they could spare. 1,000 of their best fighters were about to face an enemy that had never been defeated. General, we have movement, reported Commander Jake Harrison from the UES Valiant. Zephyrian bioships are coming out of hyperspace, just like the aliens said they would. Patricia looked at the tactical display. Hundreds of red dots appeared on the screen, each one representing a living ship full of insect warriors. The Zephyrian fleet was massive, but Patricia had expected that. All ships, this is General Stone, she said into her communicator. Remember what we learned. These bugs adapt to whatever we throw at them. So we don't give them time to adapt. Hit them with everything, then switch tactics before they figure us out. Colonel Ryan Murphy was already on the surface of Vega Prime with his ground forces. The plant people who lived there had tried to evacuate, but millions were still trapped in the cities. Ryan's job was to keep the Zephyrians busy on the ground while the space battle happened above. Sergeant Turner, what's your status? Ryan asked over his radio. Sergeant Alex Turner was hidden in the ruins of a crystal building with his squad. Through his binoculars, he could see the first Zephyrian dropships landing in the city center. They're bigger than the report said. Colonel, these things are the size of small buildings. The Zephyrian warriors that emerged from the ships were terrifying. They stood 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and bodies covered in natural armor that looked like black metal. Their faces were insect-like, with compound eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Remember the plan, Ryan told his men. We hit them with fire first. When they adapt to heat, we switch to ice. When they adapt to cold, we use sound, keep them confused. In space, the battle had begun. The Zephyrian bioships moved like living creatures, twisting and turning in ways that normal ships could not. Their weapons were streams of acid that could eat through any metal. Captain Nicole Wright commanded the UES Storm, leading the first attack. All fighters, concentrate fire on the lead ship. Use plasma cannons. The human fighters swarmed around the alien ship like angry wasps. Their plasma weapons cut deep into the living hull, and the ship screamed. It actually screamed, a sound that came through space itself. But even as they watched, the wounds began to heal. The bioship's surface changed, becoming reflective. The next plasma shots bounced off harmlessly. It adapted, Wright reported, just like they said it would. Switch to kinetic weapons, General Stone ordered. Hit them with solid metal. Number. Energy at all. The human ships fired railgun rounds, chunks of metal moving at incredible speed. The bioship had no defense against simple physics. The metal slugs punched through its hull, and purple blood sprayed into space. On the ground, Alex Turner's squad was in their first firefight with the Zephyrians. The insects moved with perfect coordination, never getting in each other's way. When one was killed, the others instantly learned how it had died and avoided the same mistake. They're adapting to our rifle fire, Turner reported. Switching to flamethrowers. His men opened up with streams of burning fuel. The Zephyrians had no defense against fire, and several of them fell, their exoskeletons cracking in the heat. But within minutes, the survivors had changed. Their armor turned white and reflective, deflecting the flames. Ice rounds now, Turner shouted. The humans switched to weapons that fired super-cooled projectiles. The Zephyrians heat-resistant. Armor became brittle in the extreme cold, and more of them fell. But again, they adapted quickly. Lieutenant Maria Santos was watching the battle from orbit. She was in charge of orbital bombardment, and she was getting frustrated. Every time they hurt the Zephyrians, the bugs learned how to defend against. General, she said, I have an idea. What if we don't give them time to adapt? Explain, Patricia replied. We cycle through our weapons faster than they can change. Fire, ice, sound, electricity, gas, radiation. Keep switching every 30 seconds. Make them adapt so fast they can't keep up. Dr. Kevin Barnes, who was monitoring the battle from the UES Hope, suddenly understood something important. General, I think Lieutenant Santos is right. But there's more. The Zephyrian adaptation process is too perfect. They optimize for the last threat, which makes them temporarily weak against previous threats. What do you mean? Patricia asked. If we hit them with fire, they become fire-resistant but lose their resistance to cold. If we hit them with cold, they become cold-resistant but lose their fire resistance. We can use their perfection against them. Colonel Murphy's voice came over the radio. All ground units, you heard the doctor. We're going to play a game with these bugs. Fire for 30 seconds, then ice, then back to fire. Keep them spinning. Alex Turner grinned as he relayed the orders to his squad. This was the kind of thinking that only humans could do. They were going to confuse the enemy by being unpredictable. The new tactics worked. The Zephyrians, who had conquered 12 worlds by adapting to any threat, suddenly found themselves facing an enemy that wouldn't stay the same long enough for adaptation to work. In space, Captain Wright was leading a coordinated attack on the Zephyrian flagship. Plasma for 30 seconds, then railguns, then missiles, then back to plasma. Don't let them settle into any defense. The bioship writhed in space, its surface constantly changing as it tried to adapt to weapons that kept switching. Purple. Blood leaked from wounds that healed and reopened as different defenses came and went. But the real breakthrough came when Amanda Foster, monitoring the battle from the command ship, noticed something strange. General, the Zephyrians are making mistakes. They're attacking their own ships. Patricia looked at the tactical display. Amanda was right. Some of the bioships were firing on each other. Dr. Barnes checked his readings. The rapid adaptation. Changes are confusing their hive mind. They can't coordinate properly when they're changing defenses every 30 seconds. All units, Patricia announced, increase the rate of weapon switching every 20 seconds now. Let's see how much confusion we can cause. The effect was immediate. The Zephyrian fleet, which had moved like a single organism, began to break apart. Ships collided with each other. Ground forces attacked empty buildings instead of human positions. On Vega Prime, Ryan Murphy saw his chance. All units, General advance. The bugs are confused. Hit them now while they can't coordinate. Human soldiers emerged from their hiding places, attacking the disoriented Zephyrians with weapons that changed every few seconds. The insects, whose greatest strength was their ability to adapt and coordinate, found themselves helpless against an enemy that refused to be predictable. Alex. Turner's squad reached the center of the city, where the main Zephyrian landing force was trying to regroup. "They're trying to form up," he reported. "But they keep changing formations. I don't think they know what they're defending against anymore." In space, the battle was turning. The Zephyrian bioships, confused and unable to adapt properly, were falling to the human fleet. Captain Wright had destroyed 3 enemy ships, and more were falling every minute. "This is impossible," came a transmission from the sanctuary station. It was Veltar, the blue-skinned alien. "No one has ever defeated the Zephyrians in open battle." General Patricia Stone smiled grimly. No one else was crazy enough to try fighting them by constantly changing tactics. These bugs are too smart for their own good. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Zephyrian fleet was destroyed, and their ground forces were scattered. For the first time in their expansion across the galaxy, the insects had been defeated, but Patricia knew this was just the beginning. There were thousands more Zephyrian ships out there, and they would learn from this defeat. The real war was about to begin. 2 years had passed since the victory at Vega Prime. The war against the Zephyrians had spread across half the galaxy, and humanity had become something they never intended to be. They were no longer explorers or diplomats. They were the galaxies. Weapon. Captain Nicole Wright stood in the corridor of the Zephyrian world ship, her plasma rifle ready. Behind her, 20 human Marines moved through the living walls of the enemy vessel. They had been fighting for so long that the fear was gone. Now there was only the mission. The world ship was the size of Earth's moon, a massive bioconstruct that served as the Zephyrian capital. General Patricia Stone had decided that the only way to end the war was to destroy the Hive Queen herself. Nicole's team had volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission. "Captain, we're getting close to the Queen's chamber," reported Sergeant Danny Price. He had been with Nicole since the beginning of the war. Half his face was scarred from acid burns, and his left arm was mechanical after losing the original. To Zephyrian claws, the walls around them pulsed like a heartbeat. The entire ship was alive, and it knew they were there. Defense systems that looked like giant insects emerged from the walls, but the humans destroyed them with practiced efficiency. They had learned to kill without thinking about it. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Carter was reading reports that worried her. The psychological evaluations of returning soldiers showed troubling changes. The men and women who had left Earth as heroes were coming back as something else, something harder and colder. "General Stone," she said over the communication link, "I need to talk to you about our people." Patricia was coordinating the final assault from the command ship UE's Vengeance. Around her, the largest human fleet ever assembled was fighting the last of the Zephyrian forces. "What is it, Doctor? We're kind of busy ending a war here." "That's exactly what I'm worried about," Elena replied. "Our soldiers aren't just fighting anymore, they're enjoying it. The reports from the ground teams talk about taking trophies from dead Zephyrians. Some of them are keeping insect parts as decorations." Patricia paused. She had noticed the same thing but had pushed it aside. Winning the war was all that mattered. "They're dealing with stress in their own way, Doctor. General, they're becoming like the enemy. I've read reports of human soldiers killing Zephyrian prisoners. Prisoners who were trying to surrender." "Zephyrians don't surrender," Patricia said firmly. "These ones did. And our people killed them anyway." Inside the world ship, Nicole's team had reached the heart of the vessel. The Hive Queen's chamber was vast, filled with biomechanical structures that hummed with alien technology. At the center sat the queen herself. She was beautiful in a terrifying way. Her body was larger than a human, with 4 arms and wings that glowed with inner light. Her face was almost human-like, but her eyes were pure black and seemed to see into Nicole's soul. "So," the queen said, her voice like music made of poison, "the Deathworlders have come to kill me." Nicole kept her weapon trained on the queen but didn't fire. Something about the creature's voice made her hesitate. "You have fought well, little mammals," the queen continued. "Better than any species we have encountered. You understand war in ways that the soft council races never could. We're here to end this," Nicole said. The queen laughed, a sound that made the walls of the ship vibrate. "And this? Child, you have become this. Look at what you were when you started this war. And look at what you are now." Nicole thought about the woman who had left Earth 2 years ago. That woman had wanted to explore the stars and make friends with aliens. The woman standing here now had killed thousands of living beings and felt nothing about it. "You were explorers," the queen said, reading Nicole's thoughts somehow. "Now you are conquerors, you were protectors. Now you are destroyers. You have become exactly like us." "We're nothing like you," Sergeant Price snarled. "Are you not?" the queen asked. "How many worlds have you cleansed of Zephyrian life? How many of our children have you burned alive? How many prisoners have you executed?" Nicole felt something cold in her stomach. The queen was right about some of it. The war had changed them all. "We had to," Nicole said, but her voice was quieter now. "Yes," the queen agreed, "you had to. Just as we had to expand and consume. It is our nature. But tell me, what will you do when this war is over? Will you go back to being peaceful explorers? Or will you look at the soft council races and see how easy it would be to rule them?" The queen stood up, her wings spreading wide. "The galaxy called for Deathworlders. And you answered. But what happens when the galaxy no longer needs Deathworlders? What happens when you are the most dangerous thing in the stars?" Nicole's finger tightened on the trigger, but she still didn't fire. "I offer you a choice," the queen said. "Join US, rule the galaxy together. Your tactical brilliance combined with our biological mastery. We could bring order to the chaos of the universe." "By killing everyone who disagrees," Nicole replied. "By killing everyone who is weak," the queen corrected. "Is that not what you have been doing for 2 years? Killing the weak to protect the strong?" Nicole thought about all the Zephyrian worlds they had burned. All the civilians who had died in orbital bombardments. All the prisoners who had been shot rather than captured. The queen was right. They had become monsters, but they had become monsters to protect innocence. "The difference," Nicole said finally, "is that we remember what we used to be. And we can choose to be something different." She pulled the trigger. The queen screamed as the plasma bolt hit her, but even as she died, she was laughing. "You cannot go back, Deathworlder. None of you can. The galaxy made you into weapons, and weapons is all you will ever be." The world ship began to collapse around them as the queen's death sent shockwaves through the biostructure. Nicole's team ran for their escape pods, but the queen's words followed them. 3 months later, the war was over. The last Zephyrian forces had surrendered or been destroyed. The galaxy was safe, and the Council offered humanity membership as protectors and guardians of peace. Captain Lisa Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, stood before the assembled Council leaders on Sanctuary Station. She had been asked to speak for all of humanity. "We thank you for the honor," she said, "but we must decline." The aliens looked shocked. Veltar, the blue-skinned Altarian, spoke first. "But why? You have saved us all. You deserve to lead." Lisa looked at her fellow humans. General Stone, scarred and tired. Colonel Murphy, who flinched every time an alien moved too quickly. Dr. Carter, who spent her time trying to help soldiers remember how to feel again. Because the Queen was right. About one thing, Lisa said, war changed us. We became the monsters you needed us to be. But monsters should not rule over the innocent. She paused, choosing her words carefully. We will help when you call us. We will come when the galaxy is in danger. But we will not stay among you. We will remain at the edge of your civilization. Close enough to protect you, but far enough away to protect you from us. The council debated for hours, but Lisa's decision was final. Humanity would be the galaxy's guardians, but they would guard from a distance. The human fleet left Sanctuary Station and headed for the Outer Rim, where they established new colonies on worlds far from the peaceful species. They built bases and training facilities, preparing for the next threat that might come. Nicole Wright, now a colonel, stood on the observation deck of Outpost Alpha, watching the stars. Beside her, Sergeant Price was cleaning his rifle, as he did every night. Do you think we made the right choice? Price asked. Nicole thought about the Queen's words, about what they had become, and about what they might become if they stayed too close to the species they had sworn to protect. Yeah, she said finally. We answered when the galaxy cried for help. But sometimes the cure is almost as dangerous as the disease. In the distance, a communication beacon blinked with messages from the Council worlds. Reports of peace, of healing, of species working together to rebuild what the war had destroyed. And if another threat ever came, if the galaxy ever cried for help again, the Deathworlders would be ready to answer. But until then, they would remain in the darkness between the stars, the guardians who protected civilization by staying outside of it.